Okay, we'll continue our notes from chapter 7.1. This time we're going to do two-step equations with fractions. Okay, we said this is two steps, so we're going to write down our two steps. Okay, and our first step is to add or subtract the constant. Add or subtract the constant. Okay, now before we put down our second step, let's just draw a line going all the way across underneath those steps. And then let's draw a line going down the middle of your paper. And then we're going to be doing three problems. Three examples on this side. One, two, and three. So spread that out. And then we'll do a 4, 5, 6 on the other side. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to write down our three problems. Again, notice how I have them all spread out. So let me just zoom in there. Here's number 1. Don't do anything yet, just write the problem. 1/2 x minus 9 equals 5. And notice how I'm leaving a little gap here. Try to leave a little gap between the problem number and the actual problem. Okay, let's go to number 2. Please just write the problem. That's all you have to do. That's negative 3 over 5x minus 6. Oh, I didn't finish the problem. Equals 9. And number 3. Again, notice I left a little gap there. That's 8x over 9 minus 30 equals 18. Okay, now let's just do the first step for all three of those problems. Let's do the first step. We want to add or subtract the constant. Okay, now let's just do the first step for all three of those problems. Let's do the first step. We want to add or subtract the constant. And is the constant 1/2 or is the constant negative 9? It's negative 9 minus 9. So the opposite of that is plus 9. So let's do that. We're going to add 9 to both sides. We went over this last time. Okay, so this is 0, and we have 1/2 x, and then equals, and 5 and 9 is 14. Okay, we just did the first step. That's good enough. Let's go to number 2. Let's do the first step. So I want to get rid of the constant. The constant is negative 6 or minus 6. To get rid of that, I would add 6. Do that to both sides. We got to be fair. So if I do that, that's gone. That's 0. So I have negative 3/5 x and equals 9 and 6. That's 15. Okay, let's go on down to we're just doing the first step, number 3. So what do I need to do? I want to get rid of minus 30, so I would add 30. Both sides, we have to be fair. That's gone. And 18 and 30 is 48. Now let's go to our second step. We're dealing with fractions here. So what we want to do is we want to multiply this isn't recipe. This is reciprocal. I just abbreviated. Reciprocal. Multiply the reciprocal. And remember, reciprocal means basically, most students think of it as, flipping. All right, so multiply reciprocal of coefficient. Remember, you have a constant and a coefficient. If the coefficient is a fraction, we'll multiply by the reciprocal of it. The reciprocal of the coefficient. Okay, so now let's do that last step for every one of these problems here. Okay, so the first one, here's a coefficient. We want to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is 2 over 1. Remember, you just flip this. If you want to put parentheses around this one, that's okay too. But so I'm doing 2 over 1 on this side. I'm going to need to do 2 over 1 on the other side because we have to be fair. Okay, so now we can find our answer. So to do that, let's see, what am I going to end up with? On the left side, notice how all this stuff will cancel. 2 over 2, that reduces to 1, that reduces to 1, and you're left with a big X. And on the right side here, if you want to, you could think of this as having a 1 under it. And so we have 14 times 2. 14 times 2 is 28. 28 over 1, or just 28. And remember, to check it, you can always just substitute it in there and see if it works. Okay, number 2. Okay, so we want to get rid of this coefficient here. So we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. So that's going to be 5 over negative 3. And if you want to, you can put parentheses around that one. So I used 5 over negative 3. I multiplied on both sides. Do it over the other, or this side, so put on the other side. 5 over negative 3. All right, all this stuff reduces to 1. 5 and 5, negative 3 and negative 3. So you're just left with the letter X. And on the right side, kind of messed up, I ran out of room, but I'm trying to line up my equals. All right, now notice on the right side here, this is like a 1 under it. So in case you're having problems recognizing that, I'll use different color. Maybe it'll show up better. Okay, so notice that I have 3 will go into 5. 3 goes into 5. 3 goes in here once, and 3 goes into 3 goes into 15. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So what are we left with? 5 times 5 over negative 1. So it's 5 over negative, 5 times 5 is 25, and there's 1 negative. So the answer is negative 25. And if you want to check that, you can always put this number over here and plug it in to see if it works. To see if the left side equals the right side. Okay, let's go down to number 3. Okay, notice this is the same thing as 8 over 9. I could separate it. It doesn't really matter. So it's reciprocal. I'm going to multiply by reciprocal. Use both sides, on both sides. Okay, and notice all this will cancel out to, reduce to 1. So you're just left with the letter X. Darn it, let me get the right color here. And on this side over here, let's put a 1 under it to make it easy for us. And you can see that 8 goes into 48, right? 8 goes in here once, and 8 goes in here 6 times. So you just have 6 times 9. 6 times 9 is 54. You can always check it by plugging it in. So we're going to add or subtract. Step 1. Step 2 is to multiply by the reciprocal. Let's go to number 4 problem. We'll do this much quicker now. Probably getting good at this. Okay, so let's get rid of the constant first. And the constant here is a constant. Oh, wait, I forgot the letter. Variable. My mistake. There's a variable right there. So if it's next to a variable, it must be the coefficient. So this one is our constant. To get rid of this is a positive 3, by the way. Positive 3. To get rid of it, we subtract 3. Both sides. And when doing so, that reduces to 0. And here, we have negative 1/3. Negative 1/3 x. Now, you could put the negative, in the middle, on top, or on the bottom. It doesn't matter. You know what? I'm just going to go put on top here. But minus 1/3 x, negative 1/3 x, same. And 9 minus 3 is 6. Okay, now we want to use a reciprocal, get rid of this coefficient. So I'm just going to flip it and do that to both sides. Got to be fair. And all this cancels out. It reduces to 1. 3 goes into 3 once, negative 1, negative 1. You're left with x. And over here, if you can't quite see it, 6 times 3 is 18, and there's just one negative involved. So their answer is negative 18. Okay, here's number 5. Okay, we need to get rid of the constant first. The constant is the one that's constantly alone, negative 10. To get rid of that, I add 10. Both sides. Okay, that's gone. And you are left with, that's positive 2/9. 2/9 x. 8 and 10 is 18. Okay, now I want to get rid of this fraction. I'll use a reciprocal. Just flip it, but you have to do it to both sides. Okay, so all this reduces to 1, and you're left with just x. And on the right side, you could think of that as a 1 underneath. 2 will go into 18. 2 goes near once, and 2 goes into 18 9 times. So now all you have left is 9, 9, 1, 1. 9 times 9 is 81. There's your answer. Okay, this is our last example. Okay, I want to get rid of the constant. The constant is negative 18. So I add 18 to both sides. And that's gone. That's 0. Now, I have minus 5x over 8, or you could say negative 5x over 8. I'll just put the negative up on top. And then 18 minus 8, that's 10. Okay, how do I get rid of this fraction again? Reciprocal. Okay, I'm just flipping it. So this reduces all to 1, negative 5, 8 and 8. you're left with just the letter x. And on the right side, let's see, that's like a 1 under there, if you want. And I have 5 can go into 8. 5 goes near once, and 5 goes into, 5 into 10. What am I saying? Okay, 5 goes near once, 5 goes into 10 twice. So you have 2 times 8, well, that's 16. And there's one negative. So it's negative. Okay, now don't put the notes away. Keep the notes out. And I'm going to help you do some problems from this famous ocean liner paper. Okay, so we're going to pass this paper out, and then I'll do some problems with you on that. But keep your notes out, please. Keep your notes out. Okay, I'm going to let you read the directions after a few minutes, but what I want to do is I want to go through some of the problems on the front and the back and to kind of give you a feel of what we're doing. By the way, the numbering is off, and that's because I whited out the problems and I put them on the back side, but I just kept the same numbering, and so that's why it's the numbering's a little off. And I just noticed this looks pretty sloppy here. This is negative 3, forget that right there, over 5, divided by 5. By the way, if you look, negative 3/5, if you look at your drawing here, you will see that there is a negative 3/5 in there. Right here. It's right there. There's negative 3/5. And you're supposed to shade that area. But I'm much more concerned of you showing me the problem and your steps than I am that answer. Okay, so next, to get rid of the 4, the constant, I'll subtract 4. Okay, and that's going to give me negative 3 over 4x equals, now negative 2 and negative 4, they're the same sign, so just add them up. It's negative 6. Next, I want to get rid of this coefficient, it's fraction, so I'll use a reciprocal. 4 over negative 3. Okay, and that's just going to give me x. And over here, I'll do the same thing. 4 over negative 3. Now, can you see how this is, that's like a 1 under it? And 3, okay, I'm sorry, looking at the wrong thing. 3 goes into 6. So 3 goes in here once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. So now I have 2 times 4, I have a 2, a 4, a 1, a 1. So 2 times 4, well, that's simply 8. And I look at my negatives, I have 1 negative here and 1 negative here. Remember, multiply or divide, two negatives cancel. So our answer is just simply 8. X is 8. Okay, number 7. To get rid of the constant, I subtract 2. 4/3 x. That's gone. Equals -1 and -2 is -3. They're the same sign, so you add them up. Okay, next I want to get rid of this fraction. What's that R word again? Reciprocal. Good. Okay, so if I do this, that all cancels out and you're left, or reduces to 1, and you're left with x. And over here, that's like a 1 under it. Notice that 4 cannot go into any of this. Huh, that's too bad. Okay, so what we have here is 3 times 3. That's 9 over 4. So -9 over 4. Now, there's no answer like that in there because it needs to be reduced. So if I reduce this, 4 goes into 9 how many times? Twice, with 1 left over. 2 1/4. And there's 1 negative. It's -2 1/4. And I think you'll find that answer in there. Okay, let's try this U one. So let's see, I'm going to add 7. So that's gone. You have U over 5 equals, now 7 and -6, and 7 minus 6 is just 1. Okay, so now I'll multiply by 5, right? Because this is divide by 5. I multiply by 5. That's gone. Multiply by 5. So the answer is, U is, 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, let's flip it over. I'm going to do a couple on the back side. Holy smokes, there's a lot of problems here. Okay. Let's just rip on through it. It goes fast, though. So number 2, I'm going to add 3. Okay, that's gone. 9 and 3, 12. What do I do next? To get rid, I divide by 8. So that's gone. So we have x equals, excuse me. Well, let's see. This is just a fraction, 12 over 8. That can be reduced, though, right? Because doesn't 4 go into both of these? 4 goes into both of these. What? 4 goes in there 3. 4 goes into 8. 2. 3 halves. But that could be reduced. 3 halves? That's the same thing as 1 1/2. Okay, let's just go sideways. Number 8. Okay, this time it's on the right side, so that's okay. Let's first get rid of the -4. I'll add 4. And that's gone, and you have 12x. And on this side, -7 and 4. So it's -3. Okay, next I need to get rid of the 12. So I'll divide by 12. And that's gone. So we have, on the right side, we have x. And on this side, we just need to reduce that. 3 over 12, 3 goes into both of those. Right? 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 12, 4. And there's a negative. So it's -1/4. Okay, slide over. Let's do number 14 together. Okay, I want to get rid of minus the negative 7 first, the constant. Make this a little larger. So I will add 7. That's gone. And you have negative, now I'll just put on top, negative 7 over 2 x. You can put it on the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. And then this is, they're different signs, so subtract. 12 take away 7 is 5, and there's more negative. Okay, next I want to get rid of this, so I multiply by its reciprocal. And if you want to put it over here, over there, it doesn't really matter. So I'll put it here, though. I can cram it in there. If you can't cram it in there, put it over here. So 2 over negative 7, I just flipped it. 2 over negative 7. If you want to put parentheses around there, that's fine. So what does that leave us with? This all cancels out, reduces to 1, and you're left with x. And on the other side, there's nothing 7 doesn't go into 2 or 5. Okay, so I have 2 times 5 is 10. That's the top number. And 7, 7 times 1 is just 7. Now I have 2 negatives. Well, 2 negatives cancel when multiplying or dividing. So I have 10 over 7. That can be reduced. We don't want to leave it that way. So 7 goes into 10 one time. Rats, I should have used another color. One time with 3 left over. So the answer is 1. Sorry about that. It's 1 3/7. Okay, let's go to the right. Number 20. All right, I need to get rid of the negative 8. So I'll add 8. That's gone. And so that leaves me with 10x over here on the right side. On the left side, 18 and 8 is 26. Okay, next, I need to get rid of that coefficient. I'll divide by 10. Divide by 10. Okay, so that's gone. So I have x equals, let's see, 10 goes into 26 2 times with 6 left over. So it's 2 6/10. Well, that can be reduced. That's the same thing as 2, and let's see, 2 goes in both of those. 2 goes in there 3, 2 goes in there 5. 2 3/5. Okay, I'll do one more row with you, but I'll go quick and talk less. I know you're thinking, whew. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 5. Negative 2 and negative 5 is negative 7. Next, I'll multiply by 3. Seven times 3 is 21, and there's 1 negative. Number 9, I want to get rid of the negative 8. (16 and 8) 24. Next, I'll divide by negative 9. So I have 9 into 24. 9 goes into 24 2 times. I'll put a negative because I know it's negative. That's 18 and 6 left over. Wait, 6 9s, that can be reduced. Okay, number 15. Get rid of the negative 28. Let's see, now this adds up to 45. Divide by 15. And 15 goes into 45 3 times. Okay, I'll get rid of the minus 2, or I'll add 2. Three and 2 is 5. Multiply by the reciprocal. 3 over negative 7. And so all this cancels out, or reduces to 1. And there's nothing you can... 7 doesn't go into 5 or 3. So what I have is 5 times 3 is 15 over 7, and there's 1 negative. And that can be reduced. So let's see. 7 goes into 15 twice with 1 left over. Okay, go ahead and finish the rest.